Rick.
Sasha.
He has a velvet voice.
Yeah.
I'm even trying to talk like that.
I was his music teacher. People didn't know
wasn't. It is a Throwback Thursday. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. Glenn Jones.
Hey, good morning.
How are you, Glenn?
Hey, Glenn, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm blessed. How are you guys?
We are happy and just glad to hear your voice this morning.
And there's a part of me that wants to say Mr. Jones, but can I call you Glenn or Glenn Jones? What I do?
Yeah,
here?
please do, man. Please,
What's up, y'all? It's my homie Glenn on the phone.
Hey, that's what it is, bro. It's all good.
Thank you.
Glenn, where are you living these days?
I live in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. Atlanta good to you now?
Atlanta has been great for me. I've been living here for a little over 3 years now.
Wow.
Nice.
Now, are you married or single or dating or what you doing, Glenn?
No. I'm married. I've been with the same lovely lady for about 38 years.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
So what is it, Glenn, about your woman of 38 years? That's that one thing about her that just gets on your nerves.
One thing about it is like when I'm driving, she's always trying to direct me which way to go.
Right.
There's a shorter route,
But Glenn,
that's what gets me.
But Glenn, is she right or wrong?
Half and half.
Okay, so that means she's right, dear.
Yeah, I always tell her, look, you can do this if you want. You get over here.
You sound like my husband. Glenn, I got to tell you, I was just telling Rick about your velvet voice, and your singing is just so beautiful. When did you know that this was your calling to get into the music industry?
Man, I knew from the time, I started singing when I was 5 years old.
Wow.
And I never stopped. I mean, it's like a dream come true because I never had to figure out my path or wonder which way I wanted to go. I always knew music was it, and it's been that, and it's taken care of me all these years.
So who was that first person, Glenn, in the music industry that just really inspired you? You said, I want to be like that person when I grow up.
Well, I started off singing gospel, and it was a different flavor, because I was around a lot of those guys, like from the Mighty Clouds of Joy and all those guys that were hard-hitting, hard-singing cats. And when I began to make my transition into the smooth spot, the sweet spot, was when I heard Donny Hathaway.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love some Donny.
Yeah, that was it.
Everyone has a story about how it happened for them and how they were discovered. Who found you, boo?
I was discovered in gospel at first by Reverend James Cleveland.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, that was my first record deal. Met him out in California, and the next thing I knew, I was at his home around his piano singing, and he picked up the phone and called Savoy Records in New Jersey and said, send me a contract because I got this kid named Glenn Jones and I'm the sign. The next week, he took me into the studio, into RPM, Ray Charles' studio.
Wow.
Did 2 albums, and then after the second album, Norman Connors heard my gospel record, loved it, and asked me to perform on his album, Take It to the Limit. I did a song called Melancholy Fire that was released as a second single, and it went top 15. And the next thing I know, I had a record deal at RCA.
Now, there it is.
Wow. It's a Throwback Thursday, and we're hanging out with Glenn Jones.
Wow. And you know what, Glenn? What's really amazing is, like, your songs, they just get stuck in my head like we've only just begun.
Yeah.
The romance is not over. Here I go again. I've been searched. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Glenn, is there ever a time when you forget your own lyrics?
Yes.
You know what? I have sung those songs like thousands of times, so those I don't forget.
Okay.
There are some that are like, secondary, like B-side songs or songs that weren't singles that sometimes, I don't sing them regularly, so I'll forget a lyric or two here or there, but see, I'm a songwriter, so I just,
Okay, so that's when the singer's like, you hold the microphone, you forget the words, and you take the microphone out to the crowd.
Right, yeah, you join in, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Glenn, I was in the car and I was listening to, I think it was Ice Cube, and I was telling my son, wait a minute, that's Glenn Jones.
No, he was like, no, that's Ice Cube. That's Ice Cube. That's Mike Jones. That's AZ.
That's Ice Cube. Am I right that he sampled some of your music?
Well, yeah, he used the track to show me. Even my man Mike Jones has used some of my music. He took "We've Only Just Begun" and flipped it into a song called "Flossing." So that's always a good thing, though. I'm happy to see them do that, to hear them do that, because I know the mailman is coming.
I know, that's what I'm talking about.
Right. It is a Throwback Thursday. It is Glenn Jones, which I could not wait to chat with him, and he's going to be on Unsung, Rick.
Speaking of Unsung, we hear you have a new song.
You and Me with Regina Bell. I got to tell you, when I first heard just the first 15 seconds of it, the music is so beautiful. What made you want to get together with Regina on this one?
Actually, I have two singles, and You and Me is the second single, which is a remake. The duet with Regina was the first single, which is entitled Love by Design, which is also the title of the album. I've worked with Regina before. I've known Regina for 30-plus years, and I know her family and her brother, Bernard Bell. He and I are close because he and I collaborated on I've Been Searching and a few other things. So when this song came along, because a friend of mine named James Day, he wrote this song, and when he sent it to me, all I could hear was Regina, so I called her and I sent the song to her. She loved it, and that was that.
Now, Glenn, you've been called the underrated Prince of R&B. Is that a title you embrace?
Somewhat, because I appreciate the fact that there are people that realize that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm constantly looking at social media. About a couple of months ago, Snoop Dogg had posted a video clip of me on Showtime at the Apollo, and he was very complimentary. He said, "No auto-tune, straight vocal, my man Glenn Jones."
Wow.
And we got about 400,000 hits off of that.
Wow.
You know, and that kind of stuff is always happening. So I'm glad that people are starting to, really recognize and be aware of that, because a lot of the music from back in those days, a lot of young people, their parents were playing it. And now, I mean, they're fans of mine. I do shows, and I got people in my audience that are 30 years old and even sometimes younger than that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a blessing, man. It's better late than never.
So I have to tell you, Glenn, I love Unsung, and I know that you're going to be on an upcoming episode in April. Just give me one juicy thing. Give me one juicy thing that's going to be on that show.
Ooh.
Come on, Glenn. Give it to me.
One juicy thing.
Just one.
Well, my wife is on there.
No.
Telling people how she copes with me, I mean, some of the...
Okay.
Some of the inside, some of the behind the scenes type stuff, that kind of stuff.
So we're not going to see you on no TMZs or nothing like that,
Right.
Huh? No, you ain't going to see me with no platinum bracelets, none of that, ain't going to be none of that, man.
I've seen artists like Mel Torme and Charlie Wilson, and these are artists that have come back from the past, like the young have embraced them, and even Peabo Bryson. These people were doing it then and are doing it right now today. Glenn, how does that feel knowing that this could be that moment again?
It's a great feeling, man, and particularly the fact that I can relate to Charlie Wilson, because we kind of cut from the same cloth. I mean, Charlie was raised in the Church of God in Christ, and he's a brother that recorded records from back in the day, but he still got his chops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad to say that Glenn Jones still got his chops.
All right now.
So it's a blessing, man, and it lets me know that there's a lot of great possibility.
Yeah.
So up close and personal, Glenn, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. What's that one cuss word you use all the time?
Oh, boy. Everybody knows sinner. Everybody knows sinner.
I got a cuss on the radio, man.
Go ahead. Let me hear.
Just say what it start with. How about that?
It starts with an S.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite TV show today? Because we got so many amazing shows, actually African American shows. What you watching today?
I like the kind of detective kind of shows. I look at Chicago PD.
Oh, that's a pretty good show.
Matter of fact, about 4 weeks ago, they featured We've Only Just Begun on there, and I wasn't expecting that because I DVR every week.
Wow.
And I'm just sitting here looking at it, and then they show a scene in the backyard of the picnic, and they played a whole freaking song. We've Only Just Begun. And I got a chance to talk to the music supervisor after that, and she was saying how she was a fan, and that was the first time they've ever played an R&B song on Chicago PD. They've never played an R&B song before.
Wow.
Well, we're fans, and we love your music, and congratulations on everything that you're working on. What's next for you?
Actually, the album is going to drop at the end of April, and the album is entitled Love by Design. I've got a beautiful record. Got some great people featured on there. Kim Waters, Nick Coleon. I've got Regina Bell. I've got my niece, Yana Crawley, 2009 winner of Sunday's Best, and I've got my wife, Genovia Jeter-Jones, on the record. Chucky Booker wrote and produced and is mixing, and it's just it's exciting. And then I'm going to South Africa. I have a tour in South Africa coming up in June.
Wow.
So, lots of things are happening. I feel blessed.
Well, hey, listen, Glenn, you got that next win, that final chapter. Run with it, brother. Run with it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to run on and see what the end's going to be, bro.
Right.
Well, you take care, and just know that we love you, okay, baby?
Thank you, Sasha.
You're welcome, sweetie.
American soul singer Glenn Jones. Thank you, Glenn.